sportbiketrackgear.com, and we're going to talk about the first 500 miles, that is, on my 2015 Yamaha YZF-R3. To qualify this whole thing, if you've been to our site, you've watched my videos, you know I not only have this bike, but I also have the 2015 R1. At one point, both motorcycles were in street trim. The R1 is now in full track trim. When I had the ability to choose between riding each of these on the street, this might surprise you, I gravitated more towards this. And it really got me thinking about motorcycling, especially motorcycling in this country. You know, the state it's in and what the sport is all about. In my mind, where I landed, if you're primarily a street rider, right? You want to buy the bike, you want to do some bike nights, you want to ride around, you want to commute, you want to have fun, okay? You don't think you're going to head to the racetrack, or you don't live in an area where you have these canyons, right? That you can go riding at, you know, almost racetrack level riding. I got to tell you, this is a better bike for you than that one is, and I'm going to give you all the reasons why. Number one, $5,000. It's affordable. Number two, it looks phenomenal. Look at this. Look what you're getting for $5 grand. That bike may, you could argue, may look a little cooler, but you're talking about 3 times the price. Insurance. The difference between insuring this for me and that was substantial. Okay, so at the end of the day, you can get into this package a lot more affordably, which is important. We're all working within a budget. Anytime you can get done what you want to get done and enjoy it and save some money, that's a good thing. So on the street, between these two, comparing them head to head, I preferred this one. The reasons for that are simple. Number one, getting a little older, and I was a mechanic for a long time. I've got some carpal tunnel issues, both hands. Very aggressive seating position, put a lot of weight on my wrist. The hands struggled a little more on that bike. This, lower seat height, right? The way it has me on the motorcycle, and I'm about 5'11", okay? There is no weight on these at all, except for the weight you choose to put there. If you want to get down into an aggressive riding position, you can do that. So for me, that really alleviated that issue. The trips I've taken on this motorcycle have varied quite a bit. I took one long range trip that went from my home here in Shelby up to Gradden Raceway. I met my marketing manager, Dalton, up there. We're gonna do some track riding. He drove the truck and he had my R1. So I rode that one on the track, right? I was thinking about taking this one out, but honestly, because I have that for the racetrack, I stuck to that one. But then I had to get back on this bike at the end of that Saturday and ride up to my family cabin another hour and a half. And even after a full day's riding on the racetrack, getting back on this and riding that hour and a half was an absolute pleasure. I thoroughly enjoyed the ride. And then a day or so later, I rode all the way home on this bike. You get off it, you feel great. The position is so relaxed. It's at home on the freeway. It's at home on rural roads. It's at home in city traffic. Let's talk about what it's like on the freeway, because remember, we're not operating, you know, 185 horsepower. On the freeway, I was able to ride in traffic, when traffic is moving along. We're not going to use, right, how fast I was going here, but at a brisk pace with zero issue. I'd be in 6th gear, and when the pace is brisk on the freeway, flow of traffic, I'd be, you know, revving, you get up around 9,000 or so. The bike's totally at home, right? Remember, this motorcycle, this little motor is meant to rev and run like that for hours and hours, year after year after year. Yamaha makes a phenomenal car, so surprisingly at home on the freeway. For me, that was a pleasant spot. Now let's talk about riding around town, okay? Another great point with this bike is the fact that it doesn't have 185 horsepower. Go and leave a stoplight, you want to leave it a little aggressively, slip the clutch, go through the first couple of gears. You might see that in that riding video, depending on what they choose to put up there. We're adding a little riding into this. You can do that on this. When you let off the throttle, you're not even really speeding, which is phenomenal, okay? That thing, you run through those first 3 gears, you are well into triple digits, and if anyone sees you doing that, you're going to get a huge ticket, you're going to get your bike towed away, your insurance is going to go up, all those things really start to compound. So that's another great place with this bike, right? A lot of that temptation's removed. You still got the cool factor. You're still riding a motorcycle. You're still having a ton of fun. In the end, I think for most people, if you're going to be riding primarily street with very little or no racetrack, whether you're a seasoned rider or you're a new rider, a motorcycle like this R3, and I'm going to be partial to this, even though there's a KTM out there, there's a Ninja 300. I don't have those. I have this one, and I'm definitely a Yamaha guy. I love this bike. I would recommend this to anyone that is doing the type of riding that we just talked about. And remember, that's coming from a guy who's got 9 motorcycles right now. I was riding this on the street, riding that now on the track, and I was choosing this over that. We're gonna have a follow-up video, right? It's time for me to do some maintenance to this thing now. I've got enough miles on it, I've got the oil change light is on. We're gonna show you how to reset that. I'm gonna show you how to change the oil. I'm gonna talk about the other maintenance points that I do with my motorcycle once I get up around that 500 mile mark, and you might find that useful for your own maintenance. These are my thoughts. Hopefully this helps. I'm Brian Van, SportbikeTractor.com.